My name is Henk van Scherpenzeel. That's not difficult. Try it. Well, okay. I have to do something. I was prepared to make a presentation about planting spot analysis in the field. Well, I don't see any field, but okay. So I'm now inside and I try to do it. It's quite short, quite directly. Let's start. Planting spot analysis in the field. Well, here you see a kind of a forest. And this is field, or this is outside. Now we are inside. And how do you inspect it? This is a good one. This is a quite bad situation. They planted trees here. They all died. Why? Because the circumstances are completely wrong. You cannot plant here trees, especially when it starts to rain. This year it could be because it's very dry in the Netherlands as well. And but not at this moment when I take the picture. So let's start it quite directly. You can do a lot of analysis of the planting spot in the office, of course. When you know where to plant trees, you can take a map. You get the permission to plant, I suppose, to take a map and see what's there. I just focused at the situation in the inner cities, not outside of the fields, not in the landscapes and in the country. There are a lot of places, there are a lot of space to plant trees, but in the cities it could be difficult. And the first things we do is, okay, we dig a hole and look in the soil, look what type of soil it is. Is it sandy soils or clay pit or anything else, or maybe a mixture of it? And what are the characteristics of those soil types? That's mostly the most important thing, to dig a hole and to see it. Well, can we plant here, yes or no? But there are a lot of more things than that. It's not only sand or clay or peat, but look at the groundwater level. If there is a groundwater level, or maybe there's not, okay, then it's quite simple. Is it present or not? Is it groundwater available for the tree or isn't? And a lot of things more then. Is the soil saturated or dried out? It's very dry this type of year, of this period of year, especially this year. It could be very dry, not only in our country, but I think in most countries of Europe. And, remain soil in the auger. You know the auger to drill a hole and to see what you find. Keep it in there or just it flow out or something. To drill it and see it. How is the soil air? Is there enough oxygen in the soil, for example? Is it normal smell? Does the soil smells normally to you? Or does it stinks? Rotten air. I don't like it. The trees, they don't like it at all because they need a lot of oxygen in the soil. Does it smell or isn't rotten? And what tells you that? Here, two samples. The left one, it's quite wet. And the other one, the right one, you can see it's very, very dry. Both are not okay, because if it's very wet, the tree will die soon after it's planted because it will drown. Is it very dry, the tree cannot grow because there's no moisture at all. So get out in the field before you start to plant it and check all this stuff, check the spot and see what you find there and how you can react on that. Here's some types, of course in the Netherlands. It's Amsterdam and the rest is in the middle of the country, and the right one is in the east side. All kind of types of soils and all kind of circumstances. The most focus of this spot analysis is, of course, in the soil, but that's not enough. It's just a part of it. So don't forget all the surroundings around it. Where do you have to plant a tree? Is there enough space, or is there just a little space there? In the street trees, for example, how is it there? is there really enough place, enough space for a tree to grow and to get big and to stay there for a durable time? How is the soil compaction? Is it hard? Can you easily dig it with a spade or maybe to help with a foot on it? How do you do it? Or is it scraping? It's very hard. So there are a lot of things. Of course, you can use a lot of instruments, but it's just easy to do it, to see and to feel and to smell by hands and by your nose and eyes, of course, to make it simple for the analyze. So you have to scrape the ground, especially sand or clay. Then it will be too hard. The compaction is too heavy, and tree will not grow anymore. You have maybe the first 1 or 2 years, and then it died, and you can start again. The moisture, for example, is quite simple. When you dig out a handful of soil and you squeeze it, what is it? Comes water between your fingers out of your hand. It's too wet. It's quite simple. When you squeeze it and you open it, and you see there is a third of dropping of soil in your hand, it's quite good. There is moisture enough. You open it and it falls out just like dry sand. Of course, it's too dry. Quite simple system, quite simple method to observe the soil. So if you open your hand, you get a third of dropping of soil, it will be perfect. Of course, you have to look at the underground obstacles. And in the city, there are a lot of obstacles. Infrastructure, for example. We know all the kind of pipelines and cables and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you get a contract, you have to plant trees in a special street. The first thing is to see at the map, are there any, or how many, and are there any infrastructure in the ground? If there are a lot of them, dig it, look at it. It's too much, you cannot plant a tree because there's no space enough for the roots. And if there is space enough, every couple of years they will dig it again because they have to repair something on those underground infrastructure. And the tree will never get that big, that final image you hoped for, or they planted it. There are, of course, some tools, the auger, or the ground gauge, or the penetrometer. I hope everybody knows those things. It's quite simple, and you know how to use it. It's not that very hard. Besides those instruments, of course, you have to know the knowledge. What do you have to look at? What do you have to do? How do you do it? You have your hands, because you have to dig in the soil. Arborists without dirty hands, they're not good arborists, I guess, especially when they work in the field. So make your hands dirty, use your nose and your eyes, and I think you will find the things you have to find. And if it's good, you can go on and to prepare a planting spot, and if not, it's not. This is a situation also, we have a small country in the Netherlands, so we have small spaces. You can see it here. Yeah, most focus is the soil, but don't forget the space above the ground. The surroundings, environment of the planting site. You see it here, it's just a tree planted, or maybe the tree was there and they built it, that kind of wooden building there, but there's about 20 centimeters between the stem and the building, so it's not durable. It's very hard durable now. The questions are, a lot of questions, of course, and I summarize here. Is there sufficient growth opportunity for the planted tree to be able to grow? Can you grow? Can you really get a plane tree, really a big plane tree, after 40, 60, or maybe 100 or more years? is there no tree crown above? A lot of young trees are planted under tree grounds, not only in our country. I think there are a lot of other situations here in the other European countries as well. Is there a pavement or no pavement, and how far is it from the trunk or from the roots? Does it really can explore the space need? Is it sufficient distance to the road, of course? Power lines, over power lines. Other buildings, other older trees, and other infrastructures below and underground, etc. So there are a lot of things you have to see, to analyze if it's possible. This is a situation. Tilia, in the eastern part of the Netherlands, well, if you look at those trees, they're just standing that between two roads. What are we doing here? So they cannot pull up the roots and go away. Otherwise, they probably did. A lot of salt in the winter, of course, when it's snowing. But you can see in the top of the tree, it won't grow. It stands there. What I'm doing here? It won't grow anymore. So you can plant a tree there, of course, but is it durable? I don't know. Maybe they get some plastic trees or so to look at the year round. They're green, but this is a very, very bad situation. It costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of time, and it's a pity for the tree. Sorry, tree. There's another situation. Here's a lot of space, and they planted Tilia under platanus, you see. I hope they will cut off the plane trees for the Tilias, but that's a pity. Why should they? So maybe it's better not to plant a tree in the middle of beside two roads. Here as well. This is in Utrecht, in the middle of the Netherlands. It costs you a lot of money, a lot of work, and the lime trees you never get really big. So otherwise you have to cut the crowns of the planes, and that's hard. So please, are the conditions right for a successful planting? Okay, then the planting can take place with a sustainable future for the planted tree, and that's the most important thing, because you don't plant trees for the first 10, 15, or 20 years, maybe some cases. And in very, very narrow roads, you planted some crataegus or prunes, some little trees, and after 10, 15 years, you have to replace them again. But normally, durable trees give them a durable situation, durable space. And if not, please don't plant a tree and start a discussion. Otherwise, it's a waste of money, time, and the tree is the victim at the end. And we need more and more trees. We need more and more tree canopies in the cities against the hot stress, etc. So, plant a tree costs a lot of money. Find or create the right planting spot. Cutting back on the planting spot is cheap. That's cheap. Well, we do this and we do that. Okay. But it costs you later on a lot of money, much more than you planted it. And you can make a right planting spot. It costs you money, but the trees gives you a lot of profits after several years, and they do it for years, decades and decades. So it's just like a pizza. A good pizza starts with a perfect pizza bottom. And if it's not a good pizza bottom, it's a horrible pizza. You won't eat it. So go to Italy and find it out. It's the same with the trees. Make the growing spot, the bottom, when it's just fine, just all right, and there's enough space, and all the cases the tree needs, they are fine. The tree will be very grateful to you, and it gives you the benefit you hoped for. It was short, I told you. It was a kind of a field field presentation. Now we do it inside. And if there are any questions, I'll be your guest. Thank you.